Good morning, all. Thank you for joining us today. Myself, Sanket Parade, working at GuardDuty. Thank you for joining the webinar. So today's topic for webinar will be enhancing security with AWS Security Hub and GuardDuty. Myself, Sanket Parade, I am working as a cloud senior solution architect at GuardDuty. In this webinar, we will explore how you can leverage AWS native tools to detect threat faster, centralize your security posture, and automate responses across your cloud environment. Let's dive right in and start with an overview of evolving cloud security landscape. Before starting the session, I would like to mention few points. All attendees are muted by default and cannot be unmuted during the session. We will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. If in case you have any questions in between the sessions, please raise your electronic hand to grab speaker attention or ask a question through the question section. For today's webinar, myself will be the speaker, and along with me, Rituja Open, Cloud Solution Architect, will be a speaker. Myself, is working as a senior solution architect, and Rituja is working as a cloud solution architect in a cloud consultant as well as a solution architect team. So I welcome Rituja, and also I would like to request her to start the session.
Thank you, Sanket, for the brief introduction. So, hi all, welcome, good morning. Let us first start by understanding Cloud.in. I'll give you a brief introduction about Cloud.in as an organization. So, as you can see, we are a 25-year-old company. Happy to announce that we will be 26 years old this month itself. We have 2 active locations currently, and 25 plus 75 plus people are working right now actively. 130 plus migrations are completed by our teams, and we are very capable of handling such high workload migrations. 100 plus certified team. We have a criteria of almost 100% certified team that is working in shifts, and 250 plus workloads, cloud workloads that we manage. We also offer 24/7 knock and sock support for each of our clients, and we have almost 200 plus cloud customers, active cloud customers that we handle. Moving on, the services that we have expertise in, the major services that we hold expertise in is implementation and migration. Basically, any cloud implementation service implementations and cloud migrations, we hold high expertise in it. Reselling and billing services for all cloud environments. Cloud consulting and advisory is our major expertise, wherein we have a dedicated team providing consultancy services for your cloud workloads. We have a dedicated managed services team as well, which provides you 24/7 knock and sock support for your cloud environments. Application services, CDN and edge services is also a high expertise that we hold. Cost optimization, helping multiple cloud companies to optimize their workload, optimize the cost on their workloads. And resource augmentation and generative AI is something new that we are increasing our expertise in. So let us now understand the agenda of today's webinar. So the agenda for today's webinar is we will be first starting with understanding the evolving cloud security landscape in today's generation. Moving forward, we will understand intelligent threat detection and with Amazon GuardDuty. How can this specific service help you enhance your security? Along with that, we will understand centralizing security visibility with AWS Security Hub, which is another service that helps you enhance your security posture. As well as we will understand an end-to-end detection and remediation in action, this will basically help you understand how you can integrate multiple cloud security services and get a new capability altogether. Also, we will understand scaling cloud security with how we can have automation and governance involved in security perspective with some use cases as well. So let us first start with the introduction of how cloud security is evolving in today's landscape. So by understanding the context of modern cloud security landscape, as almost every organization nowadays continues to adopt cloud at scale, especially through services like Amazon EC2, S3, Lambda, and many more complex services. Unlike traditional data centers, the cloud operates on, as you know, the cloud operates on dynamic infrastructure where your resources are continuously spinning, you are scaling up, you are shutting down, you get high availability. So this dynamic environment obviously introduces new challenges wherein you have many challenges like managing distributed identities, securing thousands of APIs, and ensuring that configurations remain compliant with the industry standards that you have to comply with. So we've also seen there's a significant shift in the threat landscape that we have right now. Attackers are actually becoming more cloud savvy using techniques like credential misuse, cryptojacking, and through public IP scans, they can actually hijack your cloud environments as well. So traditionally, security tools, which often rely on agents or static firewalls, struggle in this new environment and such new attacks that are happening. So what's needed is a cloud native intelligent and automated security model in this case that gives you a deep visibility and real-time threat detection within your cloud environment. So that's where services like Amazon GuardDuty and Security Hub come into picture, helping you identify and prioritize and respond to the security threats at scale using AWS native tools. So moving on, let us now understand in brief how GuardDuty can be helpful over here. So basically, what is GuardDuty? GuardDuty is a fully managed threat detection service that uses machine learning in backend, anomaly detection, and integrated threat intelligence to identify any potential security threats that can happen across your AWS workloads. So basically, it requires no agent by default, and it works out of the box by analyzing what are your foundational AWS data sources. Like there is VPC flow logs to detect unusual network activity. There is CloudTrail logs that can help you monitor user actions and API behavior. Also, there is DNS logs to identify attempts to communicate with any known malicious domains. But what GuardDuty does is it goes beyond by just scanning for known signatures. It's capable of actually detecting behavioral anomalies, like it goes in deep rather than the above that I mentioned. More than that, it goes deep into your AWS account, like it will any IAM user, in case you have, it is accessing a resource for the first time from a previously unused region or an EC2 instance, suddenly querying cryptocurrency domains. All of such activities are also being, highlighted in GuardDuty. So it's just not the basic log analysis part. It will actually capture all the any activity that is being happening, which is considered which can be malicious for your AWS workload. So now here's where things get like even more advanced with the introduction of there's a feature called EC2 runtime monitoring, which is a very famous and popular feature that GuardDuty gives us, wherein you can monitor what's happening inside the EC2 instance at the operating system level. So how does this feature comes in help is that it relies on a lightweight managed security agent. So there's an agent that basically runs inside your EC2 instance. GuardDuty does this. This agent basically collects the system level events such as file access, command line executions, process launches, and network connections. So these events are streamlined to GuardDuty and evaluated using sophisticated rules and ML model, machine learning models. The key feature here is that collection of command arguments. For instance, if it's not known to enough to know that the command was executed, GuardDuty now also knows whether it was used to start or stop or disable as a service. So basically, whatever command that you're using, GuardDuty will automatically analyze what that command was used for. Basically, what is that specific command doing in your EC2 instance. So if a threat actor disables a monitoring or a logging service using any command, GuardDuty will definitely identify and flag that as a suspicious activity. So basically, GuardDuty does not only help you around your AWS environment, just for the overview of services, but it gets inside your service, such as EC2 that I gave you an example of. It gets inside your service and analyzes what exactly is happening inside the service as well, with enormous amounts of commands that any user can use inside your instance. Another powerful enhancement is event correlation. So GuardDuty doesn't treat events in isolation. Instead, it actually correlates multiple weak signals to detect a threat. So for example, if a user downloads a file and pipes it directly into a shell, then they execute process that interact with the system or manipulate network configs. Each of these might not raise alarms, but together, such tasks, GuardDuty understands the sequence over here and the intent of doing such processes. So by analyzing such, coincident and many events such like these, GuardDuty will generate a high confidence finding wherein you can actually go and check what is happening inside your instance, why are so many concurrent activities happening. So these capabilities make GuardDuty not just a passive monitor, but an intelligent threat detection engine as well, tailored for many modern cloud workloads, wherein there is actually intelligent threat detection happening. It is not just an overview or a monitoring service just running on a high level. It is a very intelligent threat detection that is happening inside, that is detecting threat inside your services as well. So you can actually stream such findings into, you can actually integrate GuardDuty with many AWS services, native services. One of a very famous AWS service that GuardDuty can be integrated with is EventBridge. So you can actually stream such findings into an Amazon EventBridge, and a trigger can be automated here via Lambda, AWS Lambda, or a centralized, and you can centralize them in AWS Security Hub as well, which we can cover in the later slides. So basically, just to summarize, GuardDuty with a foundational log analysis and advanced runtime monitoring, GuardDuty actually helps detect both perimeter level threats and an in-depth malicious activity inside EC2 instances, reducing your time to detect and response window significantly. Now, moving on to the next topic, we will understand and brief about AWS Security Hub. How can you centralize your security and visibility with this specific service? So now that we've looked at GuardDuty and how it intelligently detects threats, let us take a step back and focus on how you can centralize visibility and control, which is where AWS security comes into play. So Security Hub acts as the security operations center for you for your AWS environment. It aggregates findings from multiple AWS services like GuardDuty, Mackie, Inspector, and Firewall Manager, and also supports integrations with over 50 plus third-party security tools, including Checkpoint, Palo Alto, etc. So all of these findings are centralized in the security finding format, ASFF, so that your security teams can correlate and prioritize the threats easily. So all the findings from all the AWS native services like GuardDuty, Inspector, Firewall Manager, and even if you have any third-party security tools, all of these will be correlated and listed down into the security finding format, wherein you can easily prioritize which threat is major for you for your workload, which will affect your workload highly, on which you can further then analyze and take the necessary security steps. But Security Hub isn't just a finding dashboard, right? It also provides automated compliance checks, like frameworks like CIS, AWS Foundation Benchmark, PCI DSS, and AWS Foundational Security Best Practices. These are other many benefits that AWS Security Hub provides us too. So each control is continuously evaluated, and you get a compliance score by service, account, and region, helping you track misconfiguration and risk exposure in real time. So now let's talk about the so there's the latest advancement that has happened in Security Hub. It's the central configuration capability. This feature has been released recently. So what this feature does is it allows delegated administrators to centrally manage Security Hub settings across all their accounts in an AWS organization. So for example, nowadays there are many organizations which have the landing zone and AWS organization set up in their companies, wherein there are multiple child accounts that are there under your organization. So this feature, central configuration capability, would be very useful for such clients, such customers who have AWS organization widely used within them, and they have multiple accounts for which they need a centralized security capability which can help them manage security across all their child accounts. For example, from a single delegated admin account that will be there in your organization, you can now automatically enable Security Hub in your newly created accounts under your organization. You can enable or disable specific security controls or standards from the admin account itself for all your child accounts. It will be enabled across all your child accounts for which you want that feature to be enabled or disabled. As well as you can configure auto enablement settings as per your standards that are followed under your company. And you can manage custom insights and automation rules across your child accounts as well. This basically improves the scalability and governance of your security posture, especially in large multi-account AWS environments. As I said, if you have a large organization and you have many child accounts under it, and it obviously gets very difficult to manage security across all the accounts. And if you want to have a centralized way, this would be the best option to be implemented. Another powerful feature is Security Hub's automation rules. So this allows you to automatically process the findings based on predefined conditions. These rules can help you update finding fields, suppress the findings that are non-critical, and route the findings to an event bridge for an automated remediation. So basically, you can whatever findings that are identified under your Security Hub, you can update the severity of those findings according to your need. You can suppress the findings if those findings are not very critical for your workload for your application, as well as from an automation perspective, you can actually route those findings and have an event bridge trigger your Lambda function or any other AWS service which can trigger it and have an automated remediation in that case. So you will not have to manually perform any remediation or take a high manpower to remediate many findings that can be identified. You can easily have automation done in this scenario. So for example, I'll just state an example. There's a high severity finding from GuardDuty that indicates that an EC2 instance is communicating with an outside network, which is actually connected to a public internet. So you can configure an automation rule in Security Hub too. This will actually help you. So you can change the finding workflow over here that you can change it to notified, and then you can tag it as an urgent severity as well. Here, then using that tag, a trigger in event bridge rule will be triggered, which will invoke a Lambda function to isolate the instance or maybe stop the instance or do the required actions that can actually stop its communication with the public internet. So this is a very basic scenario that I stated to you. Obviously, there are multiple configurations that need to be done, but if you implement automation in your basic security enhancing in your basic enhancement of security posture, definitely it will be a one-time activity and it will help you in a very long run. So all of this can actually happen, as I said, all of this can actually happen automatically without needing any manual triage of any manpower or any team. So just to summarize, Security Hub supports Security Hub. In short, Security Hub lets you centralize the visibility of your security posture. It correlates the threats and correlates the threats from multiple AWS security services that you have running and gives you a larger picture of your security posture in your environment. And it also automates the responses. You will have to obviously have a pipeline which will automate your remediation, but yeah, it supports in the automate responses as well. And it definitely continuously improves your security posture at a very high scale. So this was it. I thank you for letting me give you a brief of the very famous security services, native security services that AWS allows us to use. Moving on, the next slides will be discussed by Sanket. Over to you, Sanket.
Yeah. Thank you, Rutuja, for that quite insightful information from the GuardDuty and Security Hub. So guys, let's move forward. So as you can see, the slide title is End-to-End Detection and Remediation in Action. So I would just like to start I would say the opening I would do. Let me ask you once, how many have you have the multiple AWS accounts or the workloads across different teams and business units? You can just answer it in a chat box, or at the end of the session we can just have a one-on-one conversation. Till then you can just have this question noted down. How many of you have multiple AWS accounts or workload across different teams and business units? Okay, so now just imagine if you wanted to have this trying to be monitor and that stuff. So how would we do in a centralized way? How can you do in the centralized way, right? So you can say you have to guard the castle and you have to give the end-to-end kind of a protection. So there is a no kind of a watchtower in that sense. Okay. So moving to the points of the centralized visibility in the security hub. Yeah, am I audible? Yeah. So, as you can see, right, the security hub aggregates the security findings from multiple services, including GuardDuty, into the single pane of glass, right? So you can say security hubs act like the watchtower, right? So suppose you wanted to guard your castle or any kind of a, let's say in a flat or a building, you have to guard it, right? So there is a centralized security we assign to the particular building or particular wing, right? So security hub acts like a watchtower. Okay, so how it can aggregate? Now it aggregates the security alerts from the services like GuardDuty, Inspector, Messi, and even you can also, as Rutuja mentioned, the third-party tools like Palo Alto or CrowdStrike. So this can be integrated with those of the services also. So whatever insights you might be getting from those services, whether it's a AWS native and whether it's a third party, you can have your custom security insights given to your security team just to analyze it, monitor properly your workloads are there, and you can increase your posture of your AWS account securely, right? Now with Security Hub, you're not just seeing the issues, you're seeing them in one place, which can be scored. You can get the score of it by the severity aligning with the standards. Now, what are the industry standards like CIS, PCI DSS data, or whatever the compliance point are there. So accordingly, you can have that compliance standard in the structured way and follow the compliance point from your industry standard point of view. So it can be had. Now, GuardDuty is a threat detection engine. Why it's defined as a GuardDuty? Because see, detecting a threat is a great, right? But what's even better, automatically shutting it down before it causes damage, right? So where this GuardDuty can help us, right? Now, what the core message I wanted to deliver you, it's AWS let you go from that detection, post detection, it goes to analysis, post that remediation using the tools. Now, which are those tools? GuardDuty itself, right? The GuardDuty detects the threats. So whatever the threats coming to your AWS posture, whether it's EC2 service, whether it's S3 or RDS, so this GuardDuty can help you detecting the threats, whatever they are coming to it, and it can be mitigated automatically by using Security Hub in a centralized way, right? So there are multiple kind of services I would say can be integrated, which can be done using AWS native services itself only. For example, CloudWatch events or event bridge triggers through Lambda functions. So this can be configured in a one go, and you can have automatically mitigations or automatically detecting threats identified by using GuardDuty and Security Hub in a centralized way. Okay, System Manager is one of those services I can say which can help us uh, provide us the scripts where we can run that remediation scripts where it can be automatically pushed to whatever the services we wanted to have. So all this can be come in a centralized way, which is the Security Hub service, which can be aggregated this and triggered automated response workflows, I would say. So you can just consider an example. Let's say GuardDuty flags an EC2 instances communicating with known malicious IP, right? So there are we do security. There is a security group, right, where we do some kind of a whitelisting particular IP or any port number kind of thing. So where we can have that uh, script run key, okay, whatever the IP is, malicious IP is there, that needs to be mitigated, right? And it can be routed through Lambda functions, and then it can be notified via SNS service, which can be notified to your security team or any SecOps team you must be having internal. So that is the thing. So automating can be happen with event bridge also, where you can have the whatever the guard duty findings are there. Through that event bridge, you can have this finding. Okay. So Security Hub is not a single pane of a glass, right? You can think it of as a mission control of AWS security, because as we are involving many multiple production workloads, many multiple production accounts. So it is a kind of a mission to control our AWS security end to end, right? Because security is one of the core area where every company would like to invest drastically, and every company want it needs to be aligned properly and secure manner. So just to key points, whatever you might take. So considering from a guard duty, you can find out the what are the findings are there from a guard duty, inspector, Macy, IAM access analyzer, and many more services are there from a AWS security services. Not only a security hub or a guard duty can do a minimal kind of thing. You can integrate this those of the services in a security hub centralized way where you can manage it, and you can definitely explore in more multiple ways how you can automate it, how you can bring it more of that services. It's not like that ki only by using the security hub or only using the guard duty will work and you can have the security in the picture. You need to understand the functionality of the services, understand the criticality of that particular findings it might be giving by particular services. Then it will be a great outcome or whatever the business requirement from a security standpoint of view, you will be exploring that. Now, this whatever the services mention you, right, the guard duty inspector. So everyone has some findings, right? Everyone has that functionality or everyone has that USP. So each findings comes up with some severity score, I would say. So the whatever the criteria is there, what is that? Low, medium, high, critical. So these are some severity score which they define the threats or whatever the detection are there, which means you are not just flooded with the alerts, you get to prioritize your alerts or signals, right? Because see, notification is one of the thing. For example, you get a notification message ki your account has been debited or your account has been credited with so excess amount. But do you really go and see that message when the account amount is credited? It is good to have that credited amount is there, but when it is debited, you have a question mark, right? You just detect it. Okay, what is that amount has been detected? So this is a similar kind of a services. Only just that the difference is whatever we receive a similar message that are linked to our kind of a personal life, and these are the kind of a professional where you can have that security in the picture with the AWS native services. I'm just giving you example so that you can relate with your day-to-day life, so that whatever the services are there, there might be some attendees who will be not aware of the guard duty so I'm just relating it with the real-time example so they can relate it with a end-to-end day-to-day life with some similar kind of examples. Okay. Also, you can create some custom insights to track, for example, high severity findings affecting, or let's say S3 bucket is there. So where we can have some whatever the bucket is having. So we can have the real-time context, right? So in that case, think of a GuardDuty as a AWS native cyber threat radar. It is always on and always watching you because it is like a radar thing. Okay? So coming to the key points of the GuardDuty in that case, it analyzes the VPC flow logs, DNS logs, CloudTrail, and EKS audit logs also. So now, what are the logs basically? So whatever you're doing from finding, so it can be happen in that case, right? So that is one of the thing. And moving to the further slide, scaling cloud security with the automation and governance, right? So as first liner itself mentioned, enable GuardDuty and Security Hub across all AWS account via AWS organization. Now, what this liner tells key, as I mentioned you, right, there was my question at the starting only, ki how many workloads are having multiple AWS accounts or any multiple accounts you are handling, right? So where this organization term came to the picture, where you can have key how you can integrate the centralized way for the multiple accounts, right? So where this is the security hub where you can have it overall AWS account via the AWS organization. Now AWS organization you can consider as a centralized way of managing the multiple accounts in a centralized way, right? As security hub is for the centralized security, organization is for the centralized account management thing. Now on top of it, organization there is a control tower landing zone concept also. But we have been delivering multiple webinars on landing zone. You can just check it that. Otherwise, we can have the next session as a webinar for the landing zone and control tower itself. So you can consider organization is managing for multiple accounts, and on top of it, where we can have this centralized security hub and GuardDuty controlling to the organization level, right? Then second point is user dedicated administrator to centralized management. Means whatever your admin users are dead, whatever that dedicated administration users are, you can have in a centralized way. You don't need to manage in a single account. You can just have it in a centralized organization structure where you can share the credential, whatever you need to route it, you can route it through a centralized way. Third point is leverage the custom insights in the security hub to filter specific threat, right? So in security hub, there are some kind of a filters, right? Where let's say suppose you wanted to only monitor the EC2 instances for the 10 EC2 instances only, right? Where you can have only that 10 EC2 configured. Let's say that must be in a production environment. So you have to monitor that particular thing only. So you can easily manage, you can have easily some custom insights. Let's say I wanted to track the EC2, there will be some website hosted on that EC2. You need to track some API calls, you need to track some technology stack or the OS patch management. You can have that custom insight also. So this can be done. It's not a prerequisite script, or I would say it not like a prerequisite steps are there. You need to have some customization. You need to write some scripts down where you can have that, and you can just integrate with the security hub services. So it's a very kind of a, you can say, customizable services, or you can say it's a very versatile service, you can say, which can be integrated with multiple services, right? Fourth point is build automated remediation playbooks, as we discussed previously also, ki whatever automation you needs to be done, there should be some kind of a multiple services like event bridge are there, lambda are there, SSM automation is there, right? So where you can use these services and have the centralized of security done in the automatically way also, where you don't need to go in a manual process. You can rely on this service and you can get the whatever automation part is there in a single picture, and you can have that playbook runs through that scripts or whatever that is thing. Last is the apply security best practices with the least privilege IAM rules. Now this is our where a generic, I would say, the security best practices you must consider, considering from a basic AWS standpoint of view, where you can have your buckets secured through bucket policies are there. You can have continuous monitoring. Now there are CloudWatch service, CloudTrail service. So there are n number of services where you can come into the picture, where you can also have WAF, Advanced Shield in the picture. So these are some of the security services which you need to have as a, I would say, as a mandatory, I would say, or as you can say the compliance point of view, because every service holds a functionality where you can have your infra to be protected at some level, and every service holds some kind of a functionality that would enhance your security posture in a next level, I would say. So considering from today's agenda and topic point of view, GuardDuty and Security Hub will provide you that security posture in a inline such a way your account key, whatever your security pillar is there, right? There is a well architected framework from AWS itself where it focuses on the security, cost, performance, efficiency, reliability, and all that stuff, right? Where security is the one of the major key, where they also recommend us to have the Security Hub and GuardDuty in the picture, where you can integrate both and have a good security posture for your AWS account itself. So that is the whole thing, right? So let's understand some of the use cases. How were some companies leveraging the Security Hub and how they evolve their security inline picture. So Sony Music, as one of the well-known brand for Indian as well as for the worldwide brand, Sony Music. It's basically the entertainment industries from the Japan, where they have been standardizing their security using the Security Hub services, I would say. So about the company, it's very well known from Japan. It has been founded from 1968. So whatever regarding to the production houses or whatever related to products that Sony holds, we are very well known to that product. So moving forward, so what was that problem statement? So Sony itself was hosted with the AWS for long back years when AWS came into the picture. Whether it's a website hosting or whether it's a any PS games are there, PlayStation games are there, right? We are very well known in a gaming sector. So there were some lacking behind of the security practices across multiple teams. There were multiple teams that were facing some security challenges. Now this security challenges was not only related to only having gaming users authentication in the picture, but it also considered to be whatever they are capturing from the users, whatever the data they are capturing, they are also lacking behind in terms of providing security to that data also. So whatever that data might hold the PCI information or in that stuff. So it would say ki it is not getting logged properly, whatever the logs are there in that case. So whatever the logs were there that were not properly capturing, and many multiple accounts were there in the Sony's AWS account. So that were lagging, I would say. So as you can see, 300 plus accounts were managed by the Sony team. So managing that 300 plus accounts was very much challenging for Sony team, right? Because considering from a the brand perspective and whatever their workloads are there, that might be very much critical workloads the span across the overall work, right? So whatever the solution was delivered, right? The standard security with SMEJ. So SMEJ is the same Sony Music Entertainment Japan, and it's just a acronym, I would say. So in that case, how they integrated the guardrail via Security Hub, because guardrail was their main concern, right? Because for the trailing purpose, it was used. So how the railing happens, right? Because how they wanted to have the logs captured properly in a centralized way using Security Hub. So there were some 1300 plus kind of a website hosted over the AWS, which they wanted to have the logging system done properly. So how they captured means, just for example, if one website was hosted on one EC2, there was no logging properly. Ki, okay, some of the developer take the access of it, so there was no proper tracking of it. Ki who has given the updated code or who has changes made the changes for the databases and whatsoever. So they were lacking in that term. So where Security Hub came into the picture for a centralized way, so they just integrated to the cloud formation templates in that. So they just integrated with the CloudTrail and GuardDuty, and Security Hub was a centralized way, right? So by integrating with their AWS accounts and 300 plus AWS accounts, they post whatever the integration, they just saw the whatever the security posture was increased, means whatever the visibility of the logs, automation was in the picture, whatever the governance and compliance were there, right? Because there are multiple compliance from a government point of view. Let's say for the Sony Music, there will be some commercial rights or there will be some terms and conditions. This log should be there for the last 6 months. So everything was captured properly. So as uh, given in the course, by performing centralized management and virtualization using visualization using Security Hub, we were able to standardize our security level. So this statement was given by one of a major holder, I would say stakeholder from a Sony team itself, where they just saw the efficiency of that particular Security Hub services, where they manage how the security can be in a picture in a centralized way, and managing this 300 plus account was very much challenging for them via manual process. But security hub where came into the picture, it completely resolved all the problems in that. So everything was managed and handled and whatever in a secure way. Yeah. Moving forward, this is the second use case. It's related to RDX Works Limited. So now I would say the AWS had completely gone into this whatever the use case was, because end-to-end kind of a migration, I would say. Because see, as you can see, there are the technology, the Web3 and the DeFi, whatever the Web3 is a kind of a technology, right? Because post Web3 there were multiple technologies that Radix was using. So as these were things, so there were multiple kind of a workloads and multiple kind of a migration modernization done. So previously they might be using some on-prem or some traditional AWS services. Later on they move out to the EKS service. As you can see, whatever the solution was provided by the AWS, and EKS was one of those services for the Kubernetes containerization, I would say, from the AWS. And also they have performed some war activity. War activity is basically the well architected reviews they have performed at that level. And yes, definitely GuardDuty and Cloud Trailing was the security services they implemented. So the developers were there, right? The Web3 developers were there. They were facing some security issues at their end. Whatever they need to have, they cannot track properly. Whatever the logs were there that are not generated. So majorly concern as a previous company, I would say there were some, I would say training was not that proper, or whatever end-to-end security issues were not there, so bugs were coming out. So how to manage that? Because developers are only can on a server level kind of thing. So there are some concern about how can this be managed in a centralized way, and how can we implement it in a one stop solution only. So what was the solution? They joined the AWS kind of a native solution with build and scale the Radix on AWS with zero downtime over 3 years. You can literally imagine the downtime over a 3 years, zero downtime. It's a very much good achievement done by the Radix team and the AWS itself, right? It's also empowered 12,000 plus developers using Radix smart contract language. The Scripto is one of that language, I would say. So these are some native languages used by the Radix team. So to be very frank, the Radix team has been me not clearly given the idea, because obviously they are having some kind of a they do not want to have that kind of a transparency with the AWS. But whatever related to security terms they were given, because that is a London based company, very well known company from London. So they have been using some security posture, and they have to inline. And it also enable 50 plus projects, says whatever the build in just 3 days. Means there were some time where Radix has given a requirement to the AWS, and within the 3 days, AWS using the AWS native tools, right, the GuardDuty, CloudTrail, and EKS, they have been built up the projects and gone live for the production workloads. So this was the use cases for the overall kind of a structure, I would say. So coming to the as we are ending this slides, so I would just like to wrap this as a saying that AWS can give you tools to see threats, act fast, and scale securely. The key is to integrate them into your AWS infrastructure properly, so that your security posture or whatever the security is there, it's in a proactive manner, not only in just a reactive manner. So I would like to say, are you ready to take your business at next level with the cloud and its security services from the AWS? You can definitely connect with cloud.in sales team, as all the details are visible to on the screen only. So whatever the contact details or whatever the email you want to do, you can do at sales@cloud.in, and we can have that one-on-one discussion with you separately, whatever your use case might be. And we are open up for the Q&A part. If you're having any questions, or if you wanted to have wanted to talk, you can just raise your hand, or you can just drop your questions in the chat window. Yeah, I think there are no more questions. So one of my colleagues has shared the feedback form. So I would really like to have your feedback given to us. Ki how was the session and all that stuff. If you want any next topic to be conducted, you can just fill that form and you can just give your responses. So it will just motivate us to have the next session. What will be the topic can we take and how we need to present more kind of thing. I know this, whatever the session we might be giving, it would be some limited source because of the time constraint. But surely we would like to interact with you one on one. You can just send us a whatever your questions are there in the sales@cloud.in and we can have that one on one call. Yes. Thank you for attending the sessions. Good day.